yes, we need an Avengers Doomsday watch list, but what about the end credit scenes of that watch list? So sure, Disney Plus did put together their own one the other day, so let's look at the end credit scenes of every single movie they listed on their list. First up, X-Men and X2. Neither one of those have an end credit scene. Next up is Captain America First Avenger. It is essentially, the end one is actually the teaser for the Avengers, but the mid-credit scene was Nick Fury coming to Steve Rogers and being like, hey, I've got a mission for you. Then the Avengers have the mid-credit scene introducing Thanos, saying to challenge them is to court death, and then you have the infamous shawarma scene. Now, Infinity War, of course, we all remember, was the after effects of the snap. We saw Nick Fury and Hill being snapped away and the call going out to Mrs. Marvel. Now, Endgame has no end credit scene as of right now. With the re-release, it is expected that they will add an end credit scene on how that leads from Endgame into Avengers Doomsday. Loki is a TV show. There is no end credit. So moving on to Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, we know that there was the call with Bruce Banner saying, hey, you're part of the Avengers, but also these rings, they're definitely like sending a signal out to somebody, so we should be concerned. The entirety of that end credit scene had Carol Danvers, Wong, and Bruce Banner analyzing those rings. So despite the fact that I don't think that Captain Marvel has been confirmed for Doomsday, unless I'm wrong, this whole end credit scene situation from the list makes me feel like she most definitely will be. Now, Spider-Man No Way Home was something that everybody thought was going to happen in Brand New Day, which was Venom being sent back to his universe, or Eddie being sent back to his universe, and Venom being left. Because what's interesting about that is that Venom came with Eddie but didn't leave with Eddie, so something weird there. But the actual post-credit scene of No Way Home was the trailer for Multiverse of Madness, and interestingly enough, Multiverse of Madness is also on this list. Now, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is obviously the introduction of Prince T'Challa, which we will see in our next Black Panther movie. Now, Captain America Brave New World was Samuel Stearns telling Sam Wilson, hey, there's a lot more worlds out there. You're not the only one. Who do you think is protecting the other worlds, Carol Danvers? But what do you think is going to happen when they start coming for your world? Now, Deadpool and Wolverine may not have too much to do with Doomsday, but it is one of my favorite end credit scenes of all time. It was the Chris Evans, Johnny Storm doing the whole bit on what he had to say about Cassandra Nova. Okay, but Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, we got the introduction of Clea and Doctor Strange and her going over to the Dark Dimension, which is definitely important for Doomsday. And then Thunderbolts, we know, was actually a scene from Doomsday itself, with it being so many months later, and then them seeing the Fantastic Four ship come in after getting the notice that Sam Wilson is suing them for the name of New Avengers. And finally, Fantastic Four is nothing other than supposedly Victor Von Doom talking to Franklin Richards in the Baxter Building. So can't wait to see what actually turns out there.